Hey, everybody, welcome to the first ever episode of Coffee Hour with Tom DeCicco. I'm your host, Tom DeCicco. I figured rather than having an interview right off the bat, I would take this first episode to explain who I am, what this show's about, and just give you an introduction to myself. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Here's the intro. I can't help but feel that everything that I've ever jumped into in my life is a work in progress. So allow me to first thank you for tuning into the first ever episode, but also know that sometimes the structure of this show might change, and I'm just kind of figuring out what exactly I want out of this show. I uh, I used to do a podcast, very I'm gonna say geek oriented, as the name of the show was the Geek Culture Podcast, and in that show, it started with a group of 6 to 8 guys sitting around a table talking about geek culture, that being comic books, television, movies, video games, toys, etc. So when I first started that show, I wanted a feel that it captivated the geek culture realm, which at that point was super up and on the rise, as I feel like the first Marvel movie, which was Iron Man, just came out, and you all know how that is kind of blossomed into its own cultural phenomenon. So when we first joined, I wanted that kind of show to touch on the news and castings and all that kind of fun stuff that was bloomed and blossomed from that genre, the nerd genre. But I wanted a show that was edgy, so we took that and we kind of mixed in the feel of like a Howard Stern show, where we were overly vulgar and we had a lot of kind of strange concepts, very sexual stuff that was, it was like guys talking around a table about comic book characters and video game characters, and just it was fun. For the time being, it was fun, and it got us pretty, it pushed us pretty well within that realm because there was nothing like it. I can't help but say that as time went on, people faded from that and families grew. And, it's just life gets in the way of having people over every Friday to sit around for an hour and a half to 2 hours and record just bullshit, just guys hanging out and talking about nothing. So when that ended, I picked up a camera. I always wanted something creative to put my time into. And I can't help but think that everything happens for a reason. And with the podcast more or less ending, myself picking up a camera and starting to document my life and put it on YouTube was what I was meant to do. That was my creative outlet. So if you guys don't know, I spend a lot of my time, if not all of my time, writing and recording and editing stories to put on YouTube. Some might call me a vlogger. I like to consider myself a storyteller. So with that, the podcast ended and my life as a YouTuber began. So that leads me to today. I have so much equipment, and I just wanted to be able to not rely on other people anymore, but utilize the things that I have in my life, that one being gear, but also friends and family, to kind of, what's the word? Wanted to document my life using audio, using the medium of a podcast. And I thought it'd be fun to just kind of start this one that was calm and relaxed and very conversationally driven. And I love coffee. So to sit down with some friends, with family members, with people that I meet along the way, if it doesn't fit necessarily into the cookie cutter of a vlog, or to pull these people away from their regular lives to tell me a story or tell me about them, it was something that I wanted to put out there into the world, and this seemed like the best possible option. That I'm a little bit nervous about how this podcast is going to function in in terms of like how my life currently works. I am a full time daddy daycare. I have a 10-month old daughter at this point, and she's only getting bigger and smarter and more awesome and mobile. So, while I do like taking my time to record vlogs and tell the story visually, I do want to set aside some unmarked amount of time, whether it's 30 minutes to 2 hours. So, what I'm shooting for is to have one person on a week to tell their story. Think of this as a coffee hour sit down interview, but very relaxed. I'm going to really try to keep it light. And because the people that I'm more than likely going to be getting on this show are going to be friends of mine and family members or people that I've met along the way and admire, I want the feel of this show to reflect that. When I first started thinking that I wanted to start podcasting again, I really wanted to do I really wanted to do a show that was like this. I wanted to do a sit down interview. I wanted a conversation, and I didn't want the structure of maintaining a single topic conversation. That's kind of why I feel that my old podcast died, is you sometimes get bored of thinking about and talking about the same thing over and over again. And one of the things that I've come to realize are completely different are experiences, are stories. People have a different take on life, on situations, and I want to be able to address those and give people a platform to talk about those things. This podcast doesn't have to be inspirational, nor does it have to always hit the target of calm, cool, collective. I'm hoping for a lot of laughs, maybe some cries. I just want honesty. It's one of those things that I've always felt are hard to come by in online content, having the option of an edit. Voice seems to be one of the most honest mediums to try to portray true feeling now. And it's a market that I definitely miss. Just packing up a couple of microphones, my Zoom H6, a computer, and sitting down with a friend over a beer, a coffee, glass of water. It doesn't even matter. Just to have that open dialogue. I really miss it. And it's funny that over the past couple weeks, I've been on the phone with a bunch of other, what I'm going to call small creators, because I'm part of this movement called the hashtag No Small Creator movement, where the idea is if you take the time and effort to record something to really make and create, the word small should not define you. Numbers don't define you. Views, subscribers do not define you. You are no small creator. So with that being said, I've contacted or been contacted by a lot of the people within this group, and I've had hours and hours of conversations with them, and it's only made me realize that these people from all over the world, including Connecticut and Maine and Utah and Illinois, these places all around the world, these people have such different stories and experiences than I do. And if I could have only recorded the conversations that I had with them, it might bring one other person in the world value. It might shine the light on what their story is, who they are, and what they're trying to do. So who am I to not have a platform to be able to convey that incredible story that these people are willing to tell? So that's kind of what I'm trying to do here in a nutshell. I'm going to reach out over the course of the next couple weeks and start backlogging some of these recordings and interviews with these people. Give them a platform to talk about whatever they want, And like I said in the beginning, the structure may change, but for now, think that this podcast is going to be you being a fly on the wall to a conversation with people who I care about, ideas that I care about. And I just, sometimes it's like, I don't feel like the things that I'm putting out are fulfilling me in a creative way. I love YouTube and I love making movies. I just want one more thing. I just need one more medium. And if social media contact and taking pictures and all this other stuff that I do, if it's not filling that void, I might as well put one more thing on my plate. And that one more thing is Coffee Hour with Tom DeCicco. So we're going to keep this a super short podcast because ultimately it's just an introduction to myself and what I'm planning on doing with the future. I hope you guys can get on board with that. And I hope this first episode really sets the tone for how the rest of this show is going to go. I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate you finding me and giving this a listen. And I can only hope that you stick around for episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, if it gets that far. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want to find out more about me and more about what I'm doing, you guys can head over to my website, which is tomdecicco.com, and try to find me on any social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Coffee Hour with Tom DeCicco. I will see you in episode 2. Bye.